Hello, Fitness Pro Mentors community. What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the show. Today, Glenn and I are talking about how you can get high quality referrals from 6 referral methods. Nothing too crazy. Super excited about. Welcome to the Fitness Pro Mentors podcast, where the Minds on Muscle show. Glenn, how you doing today, sir?
I'm great. It's happy International Talk Like a Pirate Day, of which there will be very little on these podcasts, but I'm great. How are you doing, Brandon?
I'm good. Did you see that latest pirate movie that came out?
Which one?
The one that was rated R.
Oh, terrible. Very good. Very good there, Brandon.
All right, everybody. So we're digging in. And if you haven't hung around before, Fitness Pro Mentors podcast, we're all about helping personal trainers who are science-minded, well thinkers, people who love helping clients build their personal training practice organically. And we have students who are absolutely crushing it and scaling up, from single personal trainers who are going up to 20K months to people who are scaling their entire business and growing personal training teams, all organically. We don't like talking about paid. Lots of reasons why, but today we're going to give you 6 methods, no matter if you're a student or not, that you can use right away to grow your personal training business. I'm stoked.
I am too. And there's probably even more than 6. I think we're going to give you the best 6, the ones that we found the most fruitful for people like you, personal trainers who want to grow their business. I'm very excited because there's some stuff on here that we've talked about before, but also some new stuff. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll just get that out of the way, and I'm not even going to talk about this one. The most obvious version of a referral is asking a client if they have someone that would value the services that you do. Now, the reason why I don't like teaching just referral, like asking for a referral, is there is a major problem with just asking for a referral. And that's why we got these 6 things that are way more fun and way more effective. If we'll go back to this view. If I ask Glenn, hey, is there anyone in your world that you think could benefit from what I do? And Glenn, loving what I do, goes, you know what? Absolutely. I know somebody. What has to happen outside of this interaction is Glenn has to go to a social situation, find a reason or a pain why he might even bring you up in the conversation. Maybe this other person is complaining about a pain, their body fat, or something else. Then Glenn has to be an accurate salesperson for what you do and be able to describe it in a way so well that the person they're talking to, thinks it's a good idea for them to give you a call. And that's crazy, because it's really, really tough to already get high quality leads, because as personal trainers, and if we're good salespeople, we have to get really, really good at selling and identifying pains before we make a pitch. But then you're sending this soldier of fortune, this pirate, out into the world trying to get you leads, and that's tough. And so that's why I'm going to let Glenn spring this off with the first thing, but we're going to go over 6 of these things right now that gets passed and makes it super easy for you. So Glenn, where do you want to start?
So let's start with like the simplest low-hanging fruit one. Let's talk about a bring a friend event. Now, we are big into hosting presentations and seminars every single month, as long as you need to get busy at your gym, simply because you need to get in front of more people if you want to build your business. Now, a lot of times when you are first starting doing presentations, maybe you don't know a lot of different people or places you can do presentations at. Maybe you don't have that giant network. You've only really got the people in your immediate close world, current clients, friends and family, so on and so forth. But the great thing is that every person knows more people. So hosting something like a friends and family event is a great way to have more people come in through the doors that don't already know you, but from trusted sources. Because I'm way more likely, when Brandon makes a suggestion to me for a piece of software to pick up or a book to read, go do that, than from some random stranger on the streets. Why? Because I know, like, and trust Brandon. We've got rapport that's lasted, almost a decade at this point, and so I have every reason to trust him. The other reason this works is because instead of just getting a direct referral, as Brandon said before, all these hoops that have to be jumped through, this is a really soft way to just allow you, the personal trainer, already has a selling skill set, to do the work. All the other person has to do is say, hey, come check out my trainer. He's a great guy. Or, hey, my son-in-law is doing amazing things. Come check him out at his friends and family event. And you can host this in any number of different ways. You can do a free workout. You could do it as an educational seminar. You can do it as a grand opening event or as a summit. There's any number of different ways you can fit the refer a friend referral event into your world.
And truthfully, so bring a friend event number 1. If you have any of these ideas in your head and you're like, I would love to do that, that sounds like a great idea, reach out to Glenn or I or Taylor, and we'll make you some free suggestions just to help you out to figure out where would be the best place for you to start acquiring clients. You need more clients, bring a friend event is super low hanging fruit. And honestly, it's really, really easy when someone walks into your house so to speak, your business or your house, to have that person potentially end up in your world. Because you have you and the friend that brought them. So that's awesome. It's a great suggestion. Thanks, Glenn.
Absolutely, Brandon. Number 2, what you got?
Number 2. So I wrote the gift of Christmas, but it could be gift of Christmas, gift of Easter, gift of any holiday, really. This is a great one because this gives your current clients and people who potentially have a few extra resources, if they really want to potentially bestow the gift of the thing that you have to a friend of theirs. Now, there's always for sure a bit of turmoil that could potentially happen with this, obviously, because you don't know if the client's going to actually want that gift, but it's a really, really easy way for you to potentially have that client buy an assessment and a few personal training sessions you for a few $100. You could even do a discounted price, make it super low hanging fruit, and have the client be able, the prospective client, to come in and basically try on the pair of shoes. If you think about change rooms in the clothing world, right, there was a period of time where clothing stores didn't have change rooms. But now they have these change rooms and it becomes ubiquitous with all of these different clothing stores and shoe stores. If you get to try it on, you get to take a car for a ride. It gives you an experience that makes it much more likely they're going to stick around. And so the gift of Christmas, the gift of Easter, the gift of Thanksgiving gives your clients this opportunity at a low cost. And if you want like a bit of free advice, I would encourage you to think about doing this and think about, let's say, your assessment and your few sessions. Maybe it's 5 hours of work, you charge $500, discount it to $250, because really what you're doing is you're not looking to get that full money. You're looking at this as a discounted lead that you can potentially turn into a high quality lead. So, number 1, bring a friend event. Number 2, the gift of fitness. Number 3, Glenn, this one's my favorite. I talk about it all the time.
Oh, I was going to do a different one.
Then you do it.
I
Do the
wasn't
different
going out of
one.
order. That's
Do that
okay.
one. Do that one.
This is one that we've been talking about a little bit more with some of our students recently, and it always comes up, especially around Christmas time, which is the idea of giving to charity. Either charity workouts or offering some kind of personal training package to a charity to auction off at an event. People love charity. It makes us feel good to give without expecting anything in return. So just like how Brandon said, you can do the gift of Christmas or the gift of XYZ. There's a great way to think about what services you offer, bundle them up in a little package, and then offer it out to charity auctions. I know that one of our clients here, Taylor, actually converted, I don't know if it was 3,000 or 4,000. We could talk about that? No?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, I wasn't sure.
That's fine.
Yeah,
A client from last summer that we gave away a few $100s worth of time has become a client that's been with us for a year and has been brought thousands of dollars of revenue into Taylor's pocket and into the gym, more Taylor's pocket than the gym, but which is absolutely great. And this is the whole idea, is that, like Glenn's saying, you go to these events and you gotta, I would say honestly, without sounding terrible, pick charitable events where people like your client demographic are going. In my experience, giving away these same kind of things to like local churches that are trying to raise money to send people to Africa. Most people are going to the church to try and support them. There's a community, but depending on the church, there might be a lot of people there that don't have the resources or interest in your services. But this one was actually at a spinal rehabilitation charity event, right? There's a lot of people who are trying to help people with spinal cord injuries. And so there were a lot of people who are really interested in this cause. And so that was a great turnout.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing is there's infinite number of charities running around you at any given time. If you literally go right now to Google and Google search charity events near me, you will see easily in the next month 10 or 12 easily within 20 or 30 minutes of where you are. Even more if you're in a place like downtown in a major metropolitan area. This is really easy, low-hanging fruit. And the great thing is, once you actually have a template of a design that you can create in Canva for that gift package in a charity event, it's really easy to change just the name and then reuse this over and over and over again. And this is a secondary benefit, actually a couple different tertiary benefits, which I love. The first being that you get to now connect and network with other businesses. One of the things that we preach in our program, this is actually one of our bonus tips, so it kind of makes sense to maybe transition to it now. One of the things we talk about in our program is making allied connections, figuring out who's got the viewership of the kind of people that you want to work with and networking with them, and then finding a way to help leverage their audience so that you can get in front of their people, so to speak. And so a lot of times people are a little bit nervous or hesitant about just walking into business, introduce themselves, understandably so. We've got a whole episode called Talking to Strangers to help you move through that if you want to go back through the archives. But the reason I'm bringing this up now is that charity events, everyone's there for a good cause, and people are really open to just chatting with you, giving you their time. And if you go to the right events or get involved in the right charities, it's a great way to make more connections and leverage other people's audience to get in front of them. Second to that, reputation builder. Brandon has an amazing reputation in our local town because he's been a trainer here for over, I want to say 20 years, but it might be closer to 15. 18 years. And he's got a local brand here. And I've only been here a couple years, but my local brand is starting to grow. But that's because Brandon's gone out and talked to all the major players in our local area. And so everyone knows him. So it's very easy for him to get referrals. He gets some referrals he doesn't even know what to do with them. He gives them to guys like me or to Taylor or other members in the gym because he just has no time for them. And so the more people you can get in front of, the more your reputation grows, the more passive referrals that come through the door. And one of the best ways to do that, get out there, give your time to charity, have your local reputation grow. I think charity events and charity workouts are a wonderful way to get more referrals into your business.
Awesome. I got one that's a little bit of a fun little plug. Glenn, you do this one, okay?
Next. Yeah.
So what I want to stress really quickly is if you're watching this on Instagram right now, I'm live on Instagram, or you're listening to the Fitness Pro Mentors podcast. One of the most powerful ways to get a referral, and I want to tell you why I'm excited to talk about this one, is by sharing a lead magnet. Sharing a lead magnet is a piece of content that really is something, as you can imagine, is a lead magnet. But in most cases, most people think of this as I'm just going to give away some fluffy information to try and get someone to talk to me. And that's not the way to do this. You really want to do this in the way where you're giving away so much value that people are excited to talk to you, reach out to you, and join your team. Truthfully, in my opinion, you should share so much value that people want to talk to you about what you do and potentially ask you about working with you because you've given away so much free information to actually change their life. Now, if you're thinking, wow, this is a lot of different things that Brand has talked about so far. This is already 5 things. Where am I going to find the time for this? Well, I'll tell you this right now. On the lead magnet side of things, if you're a personal trainer and you want to start using this as a referral source, you want to start getting clients, you don't want to work that hard because you don't have that much time. As a part of our mentorship, little 30-second commercial, we help trainers like you scale and grow. And every month we share lead magnets and copy for you to use for resurrection calls and potentially to get new clients. All really, really great stuff, high graphic stuff. If you have any questions about that, happy to show you a version of that. But lead magnets are a really, really great way to do that, especially for organic. You can use this. Actually, one of my favorites ways is if you're watching the video right now, you see Glenn and I have this table in front of you. And I think one thing that you can do is have 4 different lead magnets of like big font, like back pain management, mobility, and sit at Starbucks and place these 4 things around you like a NASA star control, even have them facing away from you. And just sit there, drink your coffee, go on your computer. But you got these things with big, beautiful faces, and you got all these pain statements, back pain management with exercise pain-free, and people go, no way. No way can you do that. And they start a conversation with you. And guess what? The Venus flytrap worked. And these lead magnets are now a very powerful tool to start conversations. I love it. So number 5, we got 2 more of these for you, is share a lead magnet and make it something, I'm going to say this jokingly, make it something that doesn't suck. Make it something that's awesome. People actually want to read, because if people don't want to read it, it won't work. Actually, I'll tell you this quickly. Last month, we did a lead magnet on aging gracefully, which has a lot of great information, but of the last few months was the least interesting to our client demographic. So even though there's great information to it, it shows us that people who are aging are not thinking, I need an aging gracefully book. So next month, we're giving away a back pain one. And I think that's going to have a lot more traction because every month we've had a lot of traction. So that's a lot of fun.
That's why you have to know your ideal target audience, everyone.
And track.
So moving on to number 6, I think number 5.
Number 6, because you gave away your bonus one
already. I did. Okay. So the next one here, number 6, we're talking about just the straight up referral conversation. Now, Brandon touched a little bit on this at the very beginning. And the reason we're coming back around to this now is because there are good ways to do this and there are bad ways to do this.
How's a bad way?
Hey, Brandon, this is extreme. Hey, Brandon, things are a little slow right now. Trying to get a little bit busier. Is there anyone that you think you could refer to me for business? Wah, wah, wah. The way we prefer to have this conversation here, we've got some steps to it. The first thing that I always do is I always let people know and ask for permission, have a conversation that's not about exercise, because people are effectively paying me for my time to help them with their body. It's a trade, my hour, their money. And if we're gonna have a conversation that's not about exercise, I wanna make sure that's okay with them. And I'll usually do it at the end of a session. So I'll say something like, hey, Brandon, really great stuff today. Is it okay if I ask you a quick question that's non-personal training related?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
Perfect. Step number 1. Step number 2, I'm going to share with Brandon, make the request of him, I should say, of the referral, but I'm going to do it in a tactful way. And I'm not going to necessarily make it about me. I'm not busy. I need more money. I need more time. I want to make it about something bigger. Because even if you do need more money, and even if that's something that makes you nervous, that's why you're asking for the referral, at the end of the day, you, me, Brandon, we all know that the kind of service that you provide has a tremendous impact on people's lives. I think we've all had at least one client that's told us, I would have never been able to do this without you. I never want to stop trading with you. We all know there's a lifetime value to client, but people see that kind of stuff to me, you, Brandon, all the time. And so when we're talking about making the request, let's phrase it in something that's going to be bigger than me, bigger than the client. I might say something like, really great work today. Love seeing the progress that you're making. I've got a request. Sorry, excuse me. I wouldn't say I've got a request. I love working with people just like you. And it really brings me a lot of joy when you tell me you're feeling much better and you can do these kind of things that you couldn't do before. And I'm really just trying to make sure that everyone in our community can move and exercise pain-free. Is there anyone in your world that you think might benefit from the kind of work that you and I do together? And I just let it sit there and see what they say. And some people are going to say, you know what? I've got a friend. I think they'd be a great fit for you. I've been talking to them about you, right? Let me connect you. And I'll just say, that's awesome. That's amazing. I really appreciate it. If it's okay, would you mind connecting us via email together? It's be the easiest.
Or would they like a lead magnet? Or would they like to come to my friend and family event? Or would they like the gift of Christmas? Or
insert XYZ referral method here. But the whole kind of point is that we're making the request, we're asking for permission to talk about something non-training related. We're making the request for a referral, and we're positioning it as elevating the community. And then we're taking any of the different referral methods that we've discussed today and presenting that as an option to convert this person into a lead, a qualified lead that we can talk to and have a conversation with.
I'll give you one piece of technical advice with this that I've given to a bunch of students. Don't be afraid of silence. And so here's what I mean. Glenn, thanks so much for the great work today. Really quickly, is there anybody in your world that you think could benefit from what I do with you? And you don't say a word and let them talk first. Because sometimes what will happen is they'll be thinking and ruminating and going through some stuff up here, and you might get uncomfortable and you might go, and you interrupt. Give them a second. Let the air kind of sit there and wait up to 10 seconds. They're probably not going to say anything negative, but just don't get uncomfortable. Let that space being there. Good?
Perfect.
Cool. Last piece of advice that we're going to give to you. What's up, Mr. Greg Mack watching? Last one. So we've given you 6 different pieces of information. Glenn already gave you the bonus one because he's an eager beaver. I love it. Last one. All of these things where you're doing in-person events are what we call a conversion event. And we have not specifically talked about it in this way, but conversion events are one of my favorite ways to get clients. The majority, if you look at my client schedule list, if I've got 25 clients in there, 25 hours a week, I have about 10 to 12 of those client hours. They're all from me doing manual hands-on conversion events. So what's a conversion event? Well, we talked about lead magnets and presentations. Well, a presentation or in-person educational event, whether you go to someone else's house, business, or yours, is the most powerful lead magnet, in my opinion. You show up there, you bring your stuff, you bring your presentation, you bring lead magnets, you bring all of your candy, so to speak, as Mr. Greg Mack likes to say, and you go in and you share all of your best stuff. And here's what's really, really great about this. You share all this information, you share what you know, and you give them some value. Ideally, you give them so much value that they're not just entertained, because that's a thing that you can do. You entertain them, but you give them something that they go home with. You change their mind. You give them something that engages them and is educational and hopefully pragmatic. So what ends up happening is now you've created all these people who are kind of onto you. They're interested in what you do. They'll check out your website. They're going to ask questions. They're going to fill out surveys that you hopefully brought. It gives you an opportunity to collect all these lead informations and give them a call after and provide some additional value. But my favorite thing with this is if you don't get a client, which ideally I want you to get clients, is if you've done such a really good job at this, you've created a good reputation that when they are with a friend, not there with you, but with a friend, and they go, you know what? I saw this guy last week, Glenn Owen, at the chiropractic office at Foster Family Chiropractic. He sounds like he could work with you exactly. There's nothing that has been faster for us to get high quality leads than getting in front of the right people. You get in front of the right people, you can make some game-changing changes to your business. So we got 7. Bring a friend event, the gift of Christmas or gift of holiday, conversion events, referral conversations, charity workouts, share a lead magnet, and finally Glenn's bonus tip that he jumped ahead to, which was...
Oh, I would say we had so many other ones here. Allied professional referral. I had other ones too, but we'll save that for pick of the week.
On that allied professional note, I want to throw one idea out there.
Yeah, go for it.
I've got a connection in the drum world named Jared Falk. He's the CEO of Drumeo. You check it out. It is the largest drum education platform. And I've constantly been talking about business stuff. He's got a powerful business network. He's got several $1 million companies. But the one thing that he told me that was very interesting about scaling his company was when he was bringing guest drummer instructors in that helped to pull authority towards his website was the fastest way that he grew. And he wished he caught that earlier because it was the fastest way his business grew. And even today, when he has all of the resources in the world, he's still bringing superstar drummers in from all over the world and going higher and higher and higher level. Collaborate with people in your town. Figure that out because truthfully, that's one of the most powerful things, especially locally. International collaborations are great, but it really is that in-person local collaboration that's going to help you grow your local net worth, which is great. Cool. Hey, Glenn, what's your pick of the week?
I knew it. Aside from it being International Speak Like a Pirate Day, I want to share a piece of advice that I got a long time ago from one of my mother's employers, and spoke to this woman one time and never spoke to her again, but she left me with a piece of advice that I've always thought about, and to this day I always action, and that is never say no to a conversation. If someone wants to introduce you to somebody, even if you don't necessarily care who they are, or you don't see the benefit, or you don't see the time, go say hi, go say hello, go chat with them, because you never know where that conversation is going to go. How many times do you see stories on Instagram or social media or TikTok where people met the loves of their life purely by happenstance, by having a random conversation with someone? It does happen. And you never know the next person you're going to talk to, how they might impact or drastically change your world. If Brandon wasn't teaching at the one of my early courses that I took, would have never met him, would have never been here. That's crazy for me to think about. It's really insane. And so I really got to stress to you, if you have an opportunity to go meet someone, go meet with them. Go chat with them, make a connection. You don't have to necessarily do marketing, you don't have to necessarily do anything you don't want to, but just go talk and meet as many people as you can. It really is one of the best ways you're going to grow your circle, your network, your connections, your reputation. Go talk and mingle with people.
Yeah, proximity is power.
100%.
Cool. Well,
Brandon, your pick of the week, obviously. You knew.
my pick of the week is these old friends right here. Vibram Five Fingers. Honestly, I haven't talked about these in a long time. Truthfully, Glenn and Lucy did a thing at our Aurora Senior Center, and I was looking for some of our marketing resources, and I went through a box I hadn't looked through in a couple of years because of COVID, and I was like, oh my gosh, my Vibrams. These Vibrams are 8 years old. So I cleaned them, I rocked them, and honestly, it kind of got me really, really inspired thinking about foot function and kind of going back to some of my roots that my mentor Peter Chason put me onto. So I'm going to throw the idea of Vibram Five Fingers out there, and boy, have they gotten pricey compared to when I bought them years ago, but I think there's some really cool stuff that comes from it. And honestly, what's really neat is by wearing these for just a couple of weeks, my foot speed on my drums has actually increased by about 15 BPM, so about 8%. Which is pretty cool in the last little bit. So that's super cool.
I feel like we could do a whole podcast episode on feet, probably multiple ones, right? Just the amount of nerve sensory information coming from there, the many different joints that are in there. I mean, I'll stop. I'll hold myself back.
Tell you what, if you watch this on Instagram or you're watching us live, you want us to talk about some foot function and how we like to think about it from a basic perspective or kind of going to a more resistance training perspective, let us know. But that's pretty good for me. How do you feel?
I feel great. This is a wonderful episode.
All right, everybody, we're going to put a pin in that today. This is Brandon and Glenn of the Fitness Pro Mentors podcast. We are the Minds on Muscle show. If you want to see us in person, our business is called Strata Internal Performance. And remember what I said. If you want some lead magnet content, you want to scale your business and not work that hard, we got some great stuff to you that we're giving away to our students. So, everyone, have a great Tuesday. We'll talk to you real soon.
Action some of this stuff, guys. Generate some referrals.